Welcome to After Dark. I'm Grizwald Grimm, and I have with me Stephanie Sims.
Hey there, how are ya?
Yeah, yeah. Tonight's episode is playing Planeswalker, and I'll be doing a little spiel about what that means to me, and then I'll be swinging around to Stephanie for discussion and whatnot. Um, I have to bring this up because Zara made it for me, and I have a series of posts that start with this hashtag, and after I finish my spiel, you'll understand where I'm coming from when I use it, if you're interested. So thank you, Zara. Um, Planes. Let's talk about planes and planes walking. Planes walking is just the ability to interact with different planes of existence, and the three we're talking about tonight are going to be uh, the prime material plane, which I affectionately call meat space, the noosphere or noosphere. I prefer noosphere because noodle and it's a funner word, but there's people who pronounce it the other way. But for here it's noosphere. And the digital plane. Prime material plane, everybody should be familiar with. You live in it every day. Imagine yourself sitting in a doctor's office. You being in that doctor's office, that's all prime material plane stuff. But while you're there, since you're a multi-planar beast, you can also be in the noosphere. So if you're in your head while you're in the doctor's office, your attention and your awareness is in the noosphere, despite where your body is on the prime material plane. For a fun experiment, if you want to create something with us on the noosphere, you can imagine a bird and then give it zebra stripes and maybe a bugle for a beak. Now, that beast exists only in the noosphere, but it exists in my access point, your access point, and everybody else who played along. We all have that little bird in our noosphere now. And the noosphere is, I also consider it the thought plane of the planet, and I don't limit it to just humans. I think all sentient life has access to the noosphere, but basically it's all thought for the whole planet. And we can generally only access our own, but I'm not ruling out telepathy or telepathy, so but for our purposes, we'll call it that. And then, if we want to expand it to the digital plane, where we are now, it's I see the digital plane as something we've constructed in meat space, in the prime material plane, that bridges the two planes together for the exchange of noosphere entities, for lack of a better term, memes, ideas, all that good stuff that we can share and transmit from one noosphere or our noosphere access to another's access through the digital plane. And the reason I like to call it the digital plane is because people visit. I mean, that's just the language we wrapped around it indicates that it's a place we go to or a plane we walk on. So that's planeswalking, and that's playing Planeswalker. Stephanie, I've met here on the digital plane. We've never met in the prime material plane. I don't know that we've shared any noosphere other than through the digital plane. So there, I have to bring up the comment track. I'm still on the, sorry folks. All right, there we go. Chemtrails. Thanks, Mark. Stephanie, talk to me,
Yeah,
please. Fill some space for me so I can relax.
no worries. Okay, so I'm super excited about this, and I love this notion of digital bridging between the physical and the new. I'm going to say it wrong like a million times. The noosphere.
You
I
can say
kind
the
of
thought
like.
plane.
Okay, well, but I kind of like noosphere because it gives this notion of something new, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
something that's only created. So I kind of like calling it the noosphere. Okay.
And you access it through your noodle.
I like that too. Okay. Right. And so, yes, what you say is true about the fact that you and I have only met through the digital plane, right? But I think that saying that we haven't shared things in the noosphere without using the physical digital plane is not necessarily true.
Okay.
Right? Because, for example, you have written posts that I have read that have generated lots of different stuff in my brain that maybe I've come back and talked to you about, but maybe not. Right?
Right.
And so it wasn't necessarily a real-time interaction that we had on the Noosphere, but we did, right? Because I was thinking about the things you wrote, and I was thinking about other stuff, and all of a sudden, an idea. Hard to believe, but it happened. I had an idea.
Do you remember it?
God, that was so long ago. I don't know. What was I thinking about? Oh, it was the discussion about mimetic gravity.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yes.
That came from. I try and map the digital plane to metaphors to help me understand how it works better, because things operate differently here than they do on the prime material plane. Like, I can't necessarily summon people in like I can with a post on G+. I can summon you into my space on the digital plane by plus mentioning your name. And so those kind of mechanics, and whether or not people answer them, those summons and stuff, that's kind of a realm of magic. And with mimetic gravity, that whole thing I did was if you see somebody's name in your stream, or you interact with them, or you just read their stuff enough, they gain mass in your head, like familiarity. But I call it mimetic mass instead of familiarity because I like to confuse things.
It sounds better. Be honest. It sounds better.
It does. And so often I map the digital plane to in our interactions as solar systems, orbits of each other. We go in and out of each other's orbits all the time. And that's where the mimetic gravity thing came in.
Oh, okay. See, and so I read it, and even after I read it, I thought I understood it, but I didn't totally understand it, because now when you explain it, it's much clearer.
That's good to know. I'll just point people to this video if they ask me now, so that'll work.
Right, exactly. Well, you need to do some timestamps, right? Which I know you're excellent at.
I do.
Mimetic gravity explanation, whatever that was. I didn't see the time.
Right. We'll find it later.
Really cool.
Since I have you on my show, I would like to talk to you about your experience on the digital plane. What brought you here? To Google Plus specifically. I'm sure you're on the internet before. But.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because not a whole lot, right? And I just want to say hi to Zara and to Mark, who both shouted out to me. So great to see you guys here tonight, and I'm glad you made it, even though I know it's late for both of you, I think.
And Labor Day weekend, so thank you anybody who's watching for being here.
Yep. Perfect. And so how did I get to the Plus? Well, it's a very interesting story. I refused for a very long time to be on anything related to social media. Like, my parents, this is how funny it is, my parents were on Facebook, and I was like, no, I'm not going on Facebook. I don't want to be a part of social media. Don't bother me. If you want to talk to me, call me on the phone. So I took a course from Chris Brogan, which everybody knows who Chris Brogan is, and it's his course called OMFG, which is actually, not what you're thinking, Owner's Mastery Foundation Group. Okay?
Okay. Definitely not what I was thinking.
No, I know. Which is what we love about Chris, right? Because he's able to do that, and it's just cheeky when he does it. If somebody else did it, it would be, too much, but it works for him. And so, as part of this class, what he offered was the instruction itself and this group, and the group was on Google+. And so I said, well, okay, I didn't know anything about Google+ at the time, and I'm like, well, it can't be as bad as, Facebook. So I'll go there. That'll be fine. And so I got involved in the group, and I knew nothing, like literally nothing about the platform at all. And so I spent probably the first month and a half I was on the platform just inside this community, right? And it was a great community. I met tons of people there. But like the whole notion of a stream and, public posting and all that, I had no clue. Until someone else that I was working with, who actually is my coach now, Megan Francis, said to me, can I just ask you a question? Is there a reason that you're just over here in the corner on Google Plus and not doing anything out there where people can actually see you? Because, it is social media stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should learn more about this. So at that point, I kind of came out of my shell, or, got my brain turned on, whatever analogy you want to use, and started tooling around Google Plus, and that's when I got really excited about it, because I was like, okay, so wait, like I could just meet anybody I wanted. Like there could be people out there that I don't know exist, they don't know I exist, and we meet each other, and then we can just talk as much as we want. This is really cool. I love this. So, you know, I thought that was great. And things just kind of snowballed from there.
All right, I'm gonna bring up this comment for people who like read and know facts and such. We have one in the audience. Some name I'm not gonna try and pronounce coined the phrase in 1922 in his Cosmogenesis. Also thought to be a prediction of the neurological overlay of the interwebs around the globe. See, yeah, I'm not a fan of that because, well, the interwebs around the globe part, because not when you're speaking of the internet, because I just don't like it. I'm allowed.
Right. But what part of it don't you like?
The notion that because it's man-made and it doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, but it requires sentient interaction at this point, I guess. I mean, I haven't met the AIs yet. Maybe it doesn't, but it's too separate for me to be. The interwebs are too separate for me to consider them part of the noosphere themselves, other than bridges to it.
Oh, okay. Okay, and see, this is where I get totally lost because I don't even know what the interwebs are. So maybe you could tell me, and then I can tell you if I agree or disagree.
I'm not sure how Chardin meant it, so I can't really do that. Okay. But a lot of people call the internet the interweb just because people like to say things funny to establish their own lexicons.
Right. Okay, so then I agree with you that I don't think the internet is like the only way that people can communicate their thoughts to other people who don't happen to be in the same physical space.
Well, like books technically were the precursor, right? I think.
Right.
Or just the technology of language itself.
Right, exactly. Once people could actually write something down, it didn't have to be physically present to transmit the information.
That was the birth of the interweb. It just. Right. Anyway, since I don't feel comfortable that I know what I'm talking about as far as Chardin, since I've never read his cosmology, we'll just move on. Now, how did you? I first encountered you on Network Roundtable, I believe. How did you go from never using G+ to being on a HOA? Co-hosting an HOA, I guess, is the appropriate.
Well, Dennis is nuts. We all know that, right? So you can blame that one on Dennis. Actually, it's very funny because in the early part of this year, I started hearing about HOAs, right? You know, because it was kind of, that's what people I was talking to were talking about. And it became this really big deal, especially for women, to not be afraid to go on camera, right? Because at that point, I think a lot of us had this TV model in our head, not as a person, but you know, the notion of to be present on a video feed, you have to be 100% made up, and you have to look really great, and you have to have someone to do your hair, and all that, right? Which is a hard thing to live with, you know. As a woman, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm probably not enough then. I don't think I'll do that. Clearly, I got past that, right? So, not a problem for me. But so what happened was I was talking to a lot of people who were kind of, it seemed, in the same boat as me, meaning they wanted to do it because they thought it would be a really cool experience and they thought it would be a great way to meet people, but there was this hesitancy, you know, do I have to dress up? What do I do? Do I have to look a certain way? And we actually, I was lucky enough to meet someone named Lainey Sullivan, who you probably know as well. She's a huge person here on the Plus, and it was at the inception kind of the Those Four Girls community, which again, kind of an institution now. And what Lainey and the other ladies who at that point were involved with Those Four Girls, what were doing, they were running these things called Show Your Naked Face or Meet Your Naked Face. Anyway, something about naked face, right? And so it was this completely stress-free environment where you said, I want to get the hangout experience, but I don't want anyone to see me. You know, how can I have a hangout without anyone seeing me? And so they would just open a room and they would invite you in and they would say, okay, so this is what a hangout looks like, right? You know, it's just you and me sitting here and we're talking as a way to get you comfortable, right? And so I think that that experience helped me not only get past the kind of initial, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. But I met some amazing people in that initial hangout. So I met Lainey, clearly. I met Tracy Baker, who is a huge influence on me and who I love dearly. And I also met someone who I re-met, if you will, recently, Kirsten Hancock. And so coming out of that one hangout, which now has been, 8 months ago, there have been people who kind of come in and out of what I've been doing. And as I met them, I think it helped me feel, comfortable that, okay, yeah, it's not great, but I can do this. It's not gonna kill me. Kind of like what we were saying in the green room, right? Practice makes perfect. As you see that you're not going to die, you kind of like, oh, well, I can probably do that again then. And so I just started. What was the first public hangout I did? God, I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember, honestly. But people would ask me to come on, and I would say, okay. I was part of the entrepreneurs community, and so we were trying to start some hangouts there. So I did a few first private and then open to everyone, public hangouts for them. And then Dennis asked me to be a guest at some point. And when he asked me to be a guest, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, no problem. I don't really know you, but you seem like a cool guy, so I'll come on. And he asked me to be a guest on Jerks. Oh, my God. He asked me to be a guest on Jerks Bike Shop with Kirk Sherrod. And so I thought they were kidding. So I get in the green room, and they say, well, you're going to have to sing. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, everybody who comes on this show has to sing. And, of course, I had never, at that point, I didn't realize that, the connection was with YouTube and you could go back and watch the show again. I was like, oh, crap, I never watched any of these shows. They must be telling me the truth. That must be what's happening. And so I was like, oh, God, but I don't sing. I can't do this. I don't sing. No, you'll be fine. Don't worry. We'll set you up. It'll be fine. I said, okay, look. So there I am hyperventilating, right? Like, I cannot sing in public. I can't do it. Don't worry. We'll just do it really quick at the end. It'll be fine. We're not going to make a big deal out of it. It'll be super. Oh, my God. They killed me. They set me up so bad. And so Kirk, of course, makes this big thing out of it, and I'm just sitting there like, you're making me tense, man. I can't sing. So,
did they make you wait till the end of the show to do it?
Yes, till the end of the show. And
so you got to stress about it for the whole show. That was fabulous of them.
That was so sweet, wasn't it? I love both those guys dearly.
Initiation rituals have been known to bond people.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to pull a little bit in from the audience because I'm nice like that. There's another endorsement for OMFG from Kristen. Great magnet for quality people. I still keep up with some of the associations I made there a year ago. I like to read. And apparently, Sarah says it's different on European TV, and it's only American TV that kicks out that high standard high standard.
Well, it is different. I agree, it's different. But yeah, I mean, French TV, for example, it's not as bad, but it's getting there. It's pretty bad. I mean, in terms of the expectation of what you're supposed to look like if you're a presenter. So,
whoops. Have you always been here for business, or did you just decide to do that after you had been here a while?
Well, I think what happened was at the beginning, I was looking for ways to expand my consulting business, and I thought maybe I can get some ideas. So it was for business, but it wasn't really in the sense of doing business. It was more in the sense of, let me see what other people are doing. Let me connect with other people who can teach me ways that I can improve my business. But as I got here and as I saw how cool it is, and the fact that I could meet lots of new people and that they were willing to share information with me and I could help them, and I was like, okay, but wait a minute. What if this was my business? What if what I did was actually interact with people like this all the time, because I like this, as much if not more than helping one client at a time, in their office in a physical space. So it just evolved over the time that I've been here to say, well, why wouldn't I use this kind of as a principal way of doing business? Even if I still want to work with people individually, this just gives me a lot broader reach.
Do you feel that you had to adjust your persona on the platform once you decided to take it to that business level?
Well, yeah, we talked about this before. We can talk about the A word. I hopefully, and this is where other people have to tell you, right? You can never be 100% objective on yourself. You can't be You can't look at yourself from the outside. I hope that I'm still the person I've always been. You know, it certainly was not okay, I was like this and I got to quit doing that because that doesn't work. I have to be like this now. Not that I don't have those thoughts, right? I mean, every single time you go into a new situation and things don't go the way you thought, at least for me, one of the immediate reactions is, oh, well, maybe I should have said that, or maybe I should have acted like this, or maybe if I would have, things would have worked out differently. But for me, I have to fight that, right? Because to me, it's not, who am I, right? You know, I can't be somebody different to try to get a contract. I can't be somebody different to try to make someone like me. That's not ever going to work for me because it just is going to make me unhappy. Now, other people, I don't know, but for me, that's how it is. And so, no, the answer to your question is hopefully no, I haven't changed that. You know, hopefully I've become a little more polished maybe, but I haven't changed who I am.
All right, I like that. Just playing a little bit. Apparently, Mark says I'm blue box, but not. So thank you for just. Thanks for teasing me, Mark. It makes everything so much better. Really.
Hey, Mark, give him a break, would you, please?
Oh, he's bailing at the A word. We said the A word, so.
I didn't actually say it though, did I? I just
you said the A word. He's apparently running just when you say the A word now.
Oh my God, Mark, you kill me. Okay, we're gonna tear it up in the after party. Mark and I.
We will be having an after party, everybody.
I'm coming for you, Mark Siddell. I'm coming for you.
Good. Get him for me, please. Thank you. What has been your favorite, not favorite, what was the most surprising thing? Like once you found out about the space and you started playing around in it, what was the most like pleasing thing you discovered?
Oh, come on.
No.
Really? You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. But it sounds really self-serving.
Well,
it's
everybody's got to serve themselves sometime.
Well, I know, but it's actually discovering that people liked what I had to say and that it made sense to them, right? Because I think at the same time, in your own head, it makes a lot of sense, but you're usually lucid enough to realize that it doesn't make a ton of sense, you know? And so I was kind of surprised that what came from here and went out this way made enough sense that people wanted to keep listening.
Yeah, I've been a little bit surprised from time to time about that myself. And I've also learned that I have a long way to go in some respects, helping people understand me.
Well, but don't you think that that's one of the advantages both of the HOA and just of the platform in general, is because you're not limited to, you know, you can only have a certain number of characters or you can only post in a certain place, not to mention anybody else, but, you know, you can say everything you need to say and then people can come back to you and say, you know what, that was way too long, I didn't really get it. And you can take a second shot, right? You can do a summary or you can make timestamps or you can find another way to say it until you see what works best both for you and for the people you're trying to help.
Yeah, the level of feedback is terribly beneficial for personal development and development of ideas. Very much agree with that. So what's the worst thing? The singing, probably?
The singing was up there on the list of things that really I would have preferred not to have preserved for posterity. Yeah. But it's okay. I didn't die, right? After I came off that show, I didn't die. So.
That's one of my favorite things about the digital plane is so very little is fatal.
Right. Even though it feels that way sometimes.
Yes.
And I think that may be part of the key to why it's such a good tool for personal development, right?
Because you can fail without dying.
Right, but it feels big, right? Like it doesn't feel like a small failure. It feels like really, really big.
Particularly once you go live on the air.
And sing poorly.
Or have your microphone like too high and like your nose breathing through the first 6 minutes. That was my favorite so far.
Well, I don't know. There was one time when I echoed through the entire show with Dennis and he kept cutting me off. He wouldn't let me talk. He kept muting me through the whole show. That was pretty good.
So how's the show going? And if you want to plug it, go ahead.
Oh, well, the show is going great. It's Network Roundtable for anyone who doesn't know what we do. What we really do is a small business happy hour every Friday where we want to inspire, motivate, and educate small business owners with something that's kind of a high-level topic, but that we try to bring down to some tips and tactics that you can apply in your business. And I think it's going really well. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm just going to prompt you for more, so go ahead, keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have to prompt me. You know that. I just keep going. You'll have to shut me off. Yeah, well, I think that what we've done this season, which has been really cool, is we've actually tried to create the different inflection points in your business. So, we did 5 shows actually on getting started, and right now we're talking about accelerating your business, and different things you can use to accelerate your business. Then we're going to talk about getting direction, like, understanding where you're going. Then later we're going to talk about changing direction, which is a lot of times not something you pick, but that you have to do anyway to adapt to circumstances. And then towards the end of the year, we're going to talk about slowing down, whether it's at the end of a cycle, like at the end of a year, or if it's because you're getting ready to actually move into a different phase of your life. You want to sell your business, or you want to transfer it to your family, or something like that. So hopefully that's going to help people really resonate with the topics that we're talking about and keep them interested for the whole season.
Are you taking any breaks in there, or are you just doing it every week all the way through?
No, we're actually going to break. We're on hiatus on the 3rd, so October 3rd, because Dennis and I both have kids who are on fall break at that point. So we're like, no, that's too crazy. We can't do that. And then I think we're gonna. We have a special surprise for the week of Thanksgiving, right? Because we know the Friday after Thanksgiving, neither of us are actually going to be able to do a live show, but there will be a show. So.
I think you might have heard it here first, people. I don't know if you said anything about it to anybody else, so let's
go. Dennis may kill me. Dennis may kill me. I'm not sure we were supposed to say anything yet, but it's going to be a big surprise.
I like big surprises. Let's go back to your experience on the digital plane. Have you found any pitfalls that you can advise people to avoid?
Well, maybe it's something that we talked about a little earlier. This notion of kind of getting lost or being so concerned about connecting, which may turn into people pleasing or into being something that you're not, in order to try to facilitate that connection. And I think that may be what social media has a bad rap for in other platforms. Is this idea, well, of course everything looks beautiful if all you do is post pictures of your vacation and your gorgeous kids and whatever. But I think that's also part of what's different here. But that doesn't mean it can't happen, right? So I think everybody you have to guard against it yourself. I think you have to worry about it less from other people here than maybe on other platforms. But I think you do have to guard against it for yourself, especially if you're new to the platform, because the temptation's really high, right? Oh, well, if I just said I really dug this particular person or this particular thing, then I'd get in with this whole group of people, and that would be great. But if it's not who you are, well, it's not going to last very long.
Or you'll change who you are into somebody you don't want to be.
Right, and that's where we get to talk to Manny, right? That's where we go back to the core value alignment, and yeah, you might think it's great, but the truth is you're going to end up really miserable because you're going to be doing something contrary to who you really are.
Yes. We only got 2 minutes left.
Oh my gosh! Oh, sorry.
No, that's great. Actually, I'm like, would you like to plug anything else besides the Network Roundtable?
Oh, besides Network Roundtable, well, if anybody is looking for funding for their business, which is actually my principal business, I work in finance. I would love it if you would swing by my site, which is finance-ability.com. What we have is a free assessment tool that helps you understand what type of financing is best for you right now, but it also helps you see where the value is in your business so that you can grow that value and perhaps get ready for other types of funding in the future.
Oh, I have to bring this in because that's actually one of the things I think might be a pitfall of Google+, and that would be Catter Day. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, thank you, Mark, for pointing that out. Well, and yeah, let's not even, it's like Sexy Saturday, it's like, yeah, those drive me crazy, but I try to eliminate those from my stream. That's why you have circles, people. If you don't understand the power of circles, learn it, use it. That's what they're for.
Okay, so I'm going to call the show there, and we will be dropping the link for the after party. So come on in, say hello, and party at the after party. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. It was great to be here.